2007 Kenya exit poll, and you'll read all about it.
In this last poll conducted by Ipso Synovate before the elections, Uhuru Kenyatta managed to overtake his arch-rival Raila Odinga, albeit by a narrow margin.
The Jubilee ticket has a very slight advantage of about 0.5%. Notice, however, that neither of the leading candidates is within 5% of the magic 50 plus 1% required for a first-round victory.
The support for Jubilee Alliance equally overtook that of Cord by a single percentage point. And while those who support the two candidates believe in them to steer the country to economic prosperity and guarantee better governance, there are those who prefer to avoid their presidency at all costs.
The main worry for those who are not prepared to vote for Uhuru Kenyatta state it's the ICC issue, followed by association or perceived association with corruption or criminality, and so on. On Odinga's side, the main reason given for those who are not prepared to support for him associates him with violence, followed by other negative aspects of his character. Third, that he is too old.
80% of the respondents who support Odinga and 76% of those who support Musalia believe that if Kenyatta and Ruto attend trials at The Hague, they will not effectively run the government back home. 63% of Kenyatta's supporters, however, believe they will run the government just fine. With this latest poll conducted between the 15th and 19th of February indicating a statistical tie, it is evident that a runoff may be inevitable. And so a question was posed to the 5,971 respondents drawn from all counties on who they were likely to vote for if the runoff happened today.
We see that Raila has more than a 2-to-1 advantage over those who did express a preference. Time and time again, you see a very close match, not exact, but a close match between Raila supporters and Mudavadi supporters on issue after issue after issue, whether it's economic position, whether it's attitudes about The Hague, and so on. And I think that's what explains why Raila gets an advantage.
Those numbers are, however, expected to change significantly if and when the country gets down to a runoff. A lot will depend on the post-election coalitions that will be formed after the election and the campaigns thereafter. The number of the undecided voters will most likely drop to below 5%, down from the current 37%. The survey also sought to find out how many counties each of the leading coalitions would count on as its strongholds and which counties will be seriously contested. Uhuru and Ruto are shown to have solid support in 20 counties painted blue, 19 for Raila and Kalonzo in brown. The two, however, will be wrestling for 8 counties classified as battlegrounds and contested counties, where they both have less than 20% support. The two most popular counties in Kenya, Nairobi and Kakamega, are among the battlegrounds. Sylvia Chebet, Citizen Weekend.